the domain of x equals 2x minus 1 over square root of x squared minus 3x minus 4. How can we find now the domain of this one? Since the numerator is polynomial, I don't use it in the domain. So what I use now is just the denominator. And since the denominator is the square root, so what is inside the square root has to be greater exactly than 0. So that means inside the square root, which is x squared minus 3x minus 4, it has to be greater than what? Than 0. Since it is greater than or equal, greater than, it's not equal. So what we do now, it's just we factorize these two, this quadratic expression. So then we say, I'll get here x and I'll get here x. Then two numbers, when you multiply them, you get negative 4. When you add them, you get negative 3. What are they? They are negative 4 and positive 1. Because you multiply positive 1, negative 4, you will get negative 4. And when you add them, you will get negative 3. Good. Now, these ones here, to find the critical points, that means you put each one of them equals 0 to find the critical point. So the critical point here, x equals 4, and the other one will x equals what? Negative 1. Good. I draw these points now on the number line to find what? The intervals. So here, x is negative 1, and we know here x is 0, and here x equals what? X equals 4. Good. Now I study 3 regions for the domain. So here I take a number. As we know, this is negative infinity and this is positive infinity. So I take a number in this area. This number, now that you take it from here, it has to be less than negative 1, so I'll take negative 2. We'll take negative 2 now. What will I do now? I'll plug negative 2 here instead of x here and here to see, will it give me a number greater than 0? Okay, here negative 2 plus 1 is going to be negative 1. And here, negative 2 minus 4, it's going to be negative 6. Negative 6 times negative 1, will it be greater than 0? Yes. So that means this number is possible to be right. So that means any number in this region here, it's possible to be in the domain. Because if you substitute a number, any number from the region that is, or the interval that is less than negative 1, if you substitute it here, you will find it greater than 0. And this one, it means this one. That means it means it's greater than 0. And that means this here inside the square root, it means greater than 0. So that means it's possible here. Okay, I'll take now a number that is in this interval between negative 1 and 4. I'll take like what, which is the easiest one, 0 in this place. Now when you take 0, what should I do here in this case? I substitute the 0 here instead of x, and instead of x here, and see what will I get. When you substitute here 0 plus 1, it's gonna be 1. And here 0 minus 4, it's gonna be negative 4. When you multiply now 1 times negative 4, positive times negative will give you negative. And can the negative be greater than 0? No. So that means any number, you take it from this interval here between negative 1 and 4, any number you take it from this interval, it will make this number negative. That means it will make when inside the square root negative number. And what is inside the square root cannot be negative. So that means I exclude this place or this interval from the domain, since it gives me negative number inside the square root. Okay, I'll go to find the third point, which is here. I take a number that is greater than 4, so I'll take what? 5 or 6. You take any number that is greater than 4 and less than infinity, so I take 5. When I take 5 now, what I do, I'm gonna put the 5 here instead of x here and instead of x here, and to see what will these brackets be here. 5 plus 1 is gonna be 6, and here 5 minus 4 is 1. 1 times 6, positive times positive, is gonna be greater than 0. So that means any number in this interval here will make these ones greater than 0, and this one, it represents this one, so this one will be greater than the 0, so it will be logical. And what is inside, it means this one, what is inside the square root, so what is inside the square root will be greater than 0, so it can work as what? As a denominator, as a domain. So that means what is the domain here will be? It will be the interval that is from negative infinity into negative 1, and negative 1 is not there. Negative 1 is not That means negative 1 cannot be as the answer, because if you put negative 1 here, it will make the denominator 0, and the denominator cannot be 0. So negative 1 is included. So that means it's from negative infinity into negative 1. As you see here, from negative infinity into negative 1, and negative 1 has a parenthesis. That means it's not included in the domain, plus the interval that is from 4 into positive to infinity. That means if I take any number for x from these two intervals and I plug it here to be instead of x, it will work. That means it will give me a value for y. But if I take a number in this interval that is from negative 1 into 4, any number here will give me a denominator that is less or equal than 0, and that number cannot be inside the square root. So that means I choose this one as the answer.